We're jumping right into a story today. A really incredible story about cosmic balance, the everyday struggles we all face, and this ancient Taoist secret called effortless action. So in this explainer, we're going to follow the journey of Wu Wei and the flow of balanced destiny, and explore how you can actually move from constant, exhausting resistance into a state of absolute clarity.
Picture this. You are an apprentice named Fletcher, and you've just been invited into this domain of profound, almost heavy silence. A master urges you, "Fletcher, draw closer." And in this incredibly quiet space, all those mental guardians that usually filter your perception, they just step back. They leave behind this pure stillness, which is exactly where true movement begins. This right here sets the stage for a totally radical shift in how we look at reality.
Now, in our modern world, the story of success usually tells us that we have to constantly fight, right? We've got to grind, push that boulder uphill, or else we're just giving up entirely. But here's the twist. Wu Wei is absolutely not passivity. It's not surrender. It's actually the art of acting without forcing. It's what's left over when your nervous system finally just stops waging war against reality. You end up moving precisely when the universe is already moving through you.
What's amazing is that we see this ancient phenomenon perfectly resurrected today in Dr. Demartini's collapse process. It's a journey that plays out in 3 distinct phases. First, you perceive a deep loss or some kind of agony. Then, step 2, you pair that exact painful event with its hidden gain in the unseen order behind it. And finally, step 3, you literally watch as that heavy emotional charge just dissolves. Your eyes grow strangely clear. That profound clearing? That's your modern gateway straight into Wu Wei.
So think about what happens when your perception clears through this balancing process. You stop fighting the current. What's moving is no longer that small, ego-driven self frantically splashing and pushing against the river. Nope. Instead, the river itself starts using you as its instrument. You become a conduit for this much larger flow, and you start moving with this effortless, almost unbelievable power.
The master tells Fletcher that this magnificent pattern, this cosmic mathematics, plays out across 10,000 galaxies. It's proof that the universe isn't sitting up there being moralistic and judging us. It's mathematical in its mercy. The Tao doesn't take sides. It takes breath. It's a massive, beautiful system of constant rhythmic rebalancing.
Let's actually look at a cosmic story to really ground this. Think about the death of a star. To anyone watching, a collapsing star looks like a total catastrophe, right? The ultimate destruction. But this ordered death is actually the precise cosmic breath needed to forge heavy elements. Out of that terrifying collapse comes the very matter that will one day create lush green forests and, the very bones of lovers. That catastrophic end is simultaneously the invisible, perfectly timed beginning of future life.
And this brings us right to the concept of balanced destiny. A wise traveler doesn't see destiny as some rigid, predetermined path. They see it as a living equilibrium that's forever correcting its own excesses. When power concentrates way too heavily in one spot, decentralizing forces quietly start to germinate. When a culture becomes completely dominated by materialism, boom, a deep spiritual hunger suddenly awakens. Every single excess carries the exact medicine required to cure it.
This isn't just philosophy, by the way. This plays out in our actual physiology. When we do what's called lying with certainty, where we rigidly declare that an event is purely evil or entirely good, we literally stress out our autonomic nervous system. We distort our perspective. We're fighting reality. But in the Wu Wei state, when we can see both the supportive and the challenging elements at the exact same time, man, our nervous system just relaxes. Heart rate variability actually increases. Dropping those polarized judgments unlocks our ability to take real, undistorted action.
Let's bring this down to a deeply human level. There's a story in our text about a woman who loses absolutely everything in a devastating financial collapse. At first glance, pure tragedy. But once she balances her perception, she realizes that this very same event forcefully yanked her out of a life of soul-deadening luxury. It brought her right back to her truest, most powerful art. She starts creating with a fire she could never have tapped into while she was comfortable. That financial collapse wasn't a punishment at all. It was simply the cosmic breath contracting so it could beautifully expand through her later.
And this same rhythm scales all the way up to the societal level. Even when a whole society is just convulsing with political scandal and mutual accusation, the pattern completely holds. The people who can hold the polarity, the ones who don't just collapse into pure blind outrage. They see that the scandal is actually a necessary disorder. It's weaving the crime and the correction together. Because out of that chaos pours new civic technologies. And suddenly we demand higher standards of transparency. A higher order emerges that was totally invisible before the mess.
So we arrive at this incredibly powerful redefinition. Actually, scratch the idea of resignation entirely. Wu Wei is pure precision. When you finally see both sides of an event with equal certainty, you stop wasting your precious life force on heavy emotional charges. You are calm. And your action, when you finally take it, strikes like lightning, exactly where and when it's needed. You literally make yourself available to the vast intelligence that moves the stars.
As Fletcher's story nears its end, the Master reminds him that the guardians of this wisdom are always watching. And honestly, the most comforting part of all this, they don't expect human perfection. No way. They ask for something much simpler. Just stop adding artificial weight to one side of the scale with your biases and your one-sided judgments. This ancient Taoist secret, which is very much alive right now in modern boardrooms and shattered marriages alike, is simply about letting that scale balance, so destiny can flow through you without any obstruction.
The next turning of the story awaits you, because once you truly see this balanced reality, you realize that the choice to move with the cosmic rhythm isn't really a choice at all. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on as we wrap up. The breath moves. Will you move with it, or are you going to continue to argue with its rhythm?